What's happening, everyone? Okay, another MFHP tip coming at you. Enjoy, share, hit me a like. Just doing some 75 minutes of LAHR. Just did half an hour running, and now I am walking up a hill at 15 incline. Guys, have a good one.
So we're going to talk about why I think it's absolutely important that you understand what mechanics and what movement specifically that you're after so that you can work those particular muscles, okay, in the gym to build strength, to ensure that when your form starts to degrade out there outdoors, okay, you're going to stay injury free. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through 3 major muscles and 3 major movements that I would highly suggest if you're into endurance and you want to hit the pavement, get outdoors hiking, get outdoors running in the trails, whatever it may be, endurance based, okay, these 3 major muscles and these 3 major exercises are going to want to make sure that it is part of your training. Now, number 1 is your glutes, your bum, okay, number 2 is your hamstrings, and number 3 is your quads. Okay, now obviously when it comes to cycling, running, hiking, there are more muscles involved just to perform these exercises or these movements themselves, okay, but just as a starting prerequisite, I would highly focus on these 3 things: glutes, hamstrings, and quads. Okay, now we're going to pair 3 exercises that you can do to ensure 1, movement mechanics are moving in the direction that you would actually like them to, okay, 2, activation in the way that it needs to happen so that you can actually feel your glute squeeze, feel your hamstring squeeze, and feel the quadriceps load up. And then we want to veer away from any injuries that may come about from overactivated muscles or underactivated muscles, okay? First one's going to be a body weight squat, okay? Now a body weight squat, once you've got that foundational movement, will then turn into either a back squat and or a front squat, okay? Now, our number 2 movement are walking lunges, and then the number 3 is deadlift, or we're talking about your hip hinge, okay? So these 3 major movements are all going to entail those 3 major muscle groups, okay? Glutes, hamstrings, and quads. Now, if we talk about the back squat or the body weight squat alone, okay, it's going to create some strength at range. So when you are looking at doing the body weight squat and or the back squat, okay, depending on where you are, you really want to make sure that 1, form is on point, okay, and if you're looking to translate this exercise outdoors into running, cycling, or hiking, okay, you're going to want to make sure that it's around a strength program, okay, to ensure that 1, you don't just jack up the heart rate because of too many reps, but you want to make sure that you start with the foundations, get the movement right first, and build a layer of base strength, okay, and then that way you can then translate it out there. Now that works for exactly the same thing on the lunge as well, okay, ensuring that you have the body weight movement of a body weight walking lunge down pat first before you then can translate that into something outdoors, okay? Now a body weight lunge can then obviously turn into something like dumbbell walking lunges, or you could have a barbell on the back as well to then obviously load up to then start to build that strength for that specific movement, okay? The third one, which is the deadlift, which is the hip hinge area, okay, where we predominantly just focus on lengthening the hamstrings, and then as we come back up into the deadlift, really loading up through the glute and that hip thrust to drive forward, okay? Really, really important. This exercise is done completely wrong in a lot of cases, but it just depends on how you're going to do it to then translate that obviously outdoors, okay? So ensuring that if you are going to perform a deadlift, that, you know, 1, you know how to do it, and 2, that you should already be able to feel your hamstrings and your glutes really activate before you actually jump into that exercise, okay? So typically starting a training session just to get some sort of hip hinge happening or hamstring or glute activation before you then obviously load into something like a big barbell deadlift, okay? So like I said, we're talking about 3 major muscle groups, 3 major compound movements, okay? So number 1 was glutes, your bum, okay? Hamstrings, which is just below that, and then your quads at the front. Body weight squat and or back squat or front squat. Number 2 was walking lunges, or if we need to add load, we add them with dumbbells on either side of the hands or a barbell at the back, okay? And then again, proceeding into something what we call the deadlift or the hip hinge, where predominantly we're just working on glutes and hamstrings alone, okay? So because there's no flexion in the knee, you're not gonna get a whole bunch of overloading in the quads. Guys, I would highly suggest get these foundational movements done, 1, 2, and 3. Get these major muscle groups to really start to fire and activate. Build a strength program around these movements, okay? And then correlate that and take that outdoors, and you're gonna watch your performance absolutely skyrocket.
Okay, so hopefully you liked those tips about activating and why it's so important for good endurance, whether that's running, cycling, and swimming as well. It's all about ensuring that you have good musculoskeletal activation, ensuring that you can feel the way the muscles should be activating and engaging, so that your mechanics can, 1, be at their best, but then 2, hopefully maintain that form as the fatigue starts to build into your running or into your actual training session itself. Anyway guys, hit like, talk to you later.